Jewish people around the world will soon be celebrating the holiday of Passover, a celebration of freedom. Sitting or Zooming alongside friends and family, the Jewish people will rejoice in the traditional Seder feast, rich with tradition and symbolism. The occasion reminds us that the fight for liberty and justice pursued by the Jewish people throughout our rich history is one filled with contemplation of the past and with hope, strong hope for the future. Passover is a time for reflection, and in that spirit, part of the Passover celebrations includes an array of questions, starting with the noteworthy one of Ma nishtano halaylo hazeh mikol halaylos. How is this night different from all other nights? Well, it is very different indeed, with all of us enjoying each other's company at this virtual Seder from around the world, yet from the comfort of our own homes. COVID-19 has upended the way we live, and it is encouraging to see all of us here this evening together, celebrating survival and community. As the president of the World Jewish Congress, Ronald Lauder, has in the past stated, we will get through the coronavirus crisis, as we have gotten through so many seemingly existential threats over the last 2,000 years. In the spirit of Passover and its quest for contemplation, let us ask and answer a few questions. What is Passover? How do we celebrate it today? And what is its relevance throughout our future?
Hello, World Jewish Congress. With the Passover holiday quickly approaching, I wanted to ask you if you could give a bit of background on the situation Jews face in Egypt and how Moses led them to freedom.
The Passover story starts in ancient times, when Joseph, one of Jacob's sons, moves his family to ancient Egypt. For many years, the Israelites lived in peace in the province of Goshen. But as their population grew, the Egyptians began to see the Hebrews as a threat. After the death of Joseph and his brothers, a pharaoh ordered the enslavement of the Israelites and the organized drowning of their firstborn sons in the river Nile. One of these firstborn infants was rescued by Pharaoh's daughter, adopted into the Egyptian royal family, and named Moses. Eventually, a grown-up Moses becomes aware of his Jewish background, and he is forced on the run. God appeared to Moses in a burning bush and commanded him to confront Pharaoh to release the Hebrews from bondage. Along with his brother Aaron, Moses approached the reigning Pharaoh again and again, saying, "Let my people go." Yet again and again, Pharaoh refused, upon which God unleashed the 10 plagues on the Egyptians. They included agricultural afflictions, such as locusts, maladies such as boils, and supernatural plagues, such as storms of fire and darkness. And finally, the 10th plague, the killing of all firstborn Egyptian sons. The Jews were able to escape this final plague by rubbing lamb's blood over their doors, symboling to God to pass over their homes. Terrified of further punishment, Pharaoh releases the Hebrews from enslavement, and Moses leads them out of Egypt. But Pharaoh has second thoughts and sends his soldiers to repossess his former slaves. As the Egyptian army approached the fleeing Jews at the edge of the Red Sea, another miracle transpired. God split the sea, allowing the Jews to pass securely before drowning the pursuing Egyptian army and preventing the recapture of the Jewish people. Throughout the Seder meal, we commemorate these events. We retell the story of the miraculous redemption of the Jewish people, and we remember the important foundations of our Jewish nation, that of human dignity, that of community spirit, and that of individual and community freedom.
Jews around the world celebrate Passover in their own unique ways, but there are some common elements that we all share. What can we tell people about the Seder?
Rituals, traditions, and symbols have power in that they do not only connect people gathered around the table or over Zoom, but also connect people across time. For generations, Jewish families have gathered to celebrate Passover and its traditions, and we will soon once again have a Seder and ask, Ma nishtana? This leads us to one of the foremost and more recognized of traditions, the asking of the 4 questions, and the telling of the Passover story through the Haggadah. These are very much rooted in the notion of remembrance. As a nation, we must know our past, our history, to effectively pass on our rich inheritance to our children and to our next generation. The importance of remembrance stands strong alongside our commitment to education. Education is and has always been the backbone of Jewish life for centuries. From Shimon ben Shetta's compulsory elementary schools in 75 BCE to the thousands of Jewish study centers around the world today, the people of the book place education at the forefront of life, and the retelling of the Passover story is yet another important element of this.
Hola, soy el padre Rafael Velasco, jesuita, y quería preguntar qué es lo que se pone en el plato, en la que hará, en el plato que se pone en el centro de la mesa de Pesach para el Seder. Muchas gracias.
What is the Seder plate and why is it important? The Seder plate is another tradition of Passover. It is a dish symbolically placed at the center of the table, but it is usually not eaten. It is for symbolic reasons only, and it is by intention something of a lesson plan. Arranged upon it are 5 symbolic items, each signifying one element of the Jewish journey away from Egyptian persecution. Maror, bitter herb signifying the bitterness of enslavement. Haroset, this is often a mix of apples or dates, nuts, and wine or grape juice. This blend symbolizes the mortar that the Israelis used when building bricks in Egypt. Karpas, a leafy vegetable, usually lettuce or parsley. The green of a vegetable symbolizes springtime and new growth. It is dipped into salt water, representing the tears of the enslaved Israelites. Zerua, a roasted lamb bone, a reminder of the Pesach sacrifice, an offering of lamb in the temple in Jerusalem to show gratitude for God's intervention in saving the Jewish people from slavery. And finally, Betzah, a roasted egg that with its roundness symbolizes rebirth and refreshed start. These symbols remind us of our history, and importantly, of our responsibilities to play our part in creating a world where oppression is an ordeal of the past and freedom and liberty a comfort of our future. Likewise, throughout Passover, Jewish people eat matzah, unleavened flat bread. Matzah symbolizes the hardship of slavery, and the Jewish people hastily transitioned to freedom, as upon hearing the news of their redemption, the Jewish people left in such haste that they did not wait for the bread dough to rise. With a single bite of matzah on Passover, one remembers both the affliction of slavery and the relief of its redemption, bringing hope to all that good always overcomes evil, triumph over failure, and freedom over oppression.
It's been thousands of years since Moses led the Jews out of Egypt. Yet Jews still today read the story of this miracle each year. What can the world learn from the story of Passover in 2021?
The story of Passover continues to inspire generations of leaders. Just look at the United States. For centuries, Moses was a paradigmatic figure for those seeking religious freedom, for the founding fathers' dreams of independence, and for civil rights leaders fighting for equality for all people. The World Jewish Congress and its partners and supporters around the world, just like Moses, will always rise up and fight for civil liberties and human rights, for justice and for the rule of law, for freedom and for redemption. When it comes to combating anti-Semitism and all infringements on life, liberty, and human rights, the Passover story continues to inspire hope, devotion, and an unyielding commitment to fostering a more just, a more free, and a more responsible world. During these difficult times, with the impact of COVID felt by millions of people around the world, the Passover story is more relevant than ever. Just like the many trials and tribulations we have confronted over the past year, so too did our ancestors suffer during their difficult escape from Egypt and their lengthy exile in the Sinai. But the journey to freedom necessitates hope over fear. It demands of us strength over adversity. So we must continue to stand steadfast with our greatest courage, our most sincere faith, and with a tremendous hope for our future. As we gather together on this special day to rejoice in our history, remember our freedoms, and recommit to our faith, I am inspired. I have great courage, and I believe fully in the realization of that better tomorrow. When the World Jewish Congress was founded, its primary objective was to mobilize the Jewish people and democratic forces against the threat of Nazi global dominance, and in so doing support the establishment of a Jewish state in the land of Israel, and to create a worldwide Jewish representative body that would fight for economic and political rights for everyone, everywhere. The World Jewish Congress has since never stopped ensuring the continuity and development of our Jewish religious, spiritual, cultural, and social heritage. And it will never stop fighting for political and economic equality, for freedom, for justice, for redemption, for everyone, everywhere. Thank you for taking the time to learn just a little bit more about Passover with us tonight. And as the saying goes, we hope to see you next year in Jerusalem.